Okay, this is a call to order of the Bridgeport Board of Education's Facilities Committee meeting. Today's date is Monday, February 1st, 2021, and the time is noted as being 5:32 p.m. Noted as being present are myself, John Weldon, chairman of this committee, and committee members Joseph Sokolovic and Albert Benahan. There are no other board members present. We do have Superintendent Michael Testani and Black Rock School Principal Stephen Cassidy. We had another, here we are. We have Mike Evans, who is, what organization are you from, Mr. Evans? You're muted.
The name of the organization is Full Court Peace.
Full Court Peace?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so all that having been noted for the record, first item on the agenda is discussion and possible referral to the full board on installation of a basketball court at Black Rock School. Mr. Cassidy, this is you.
Sure. Thanks. We are extremely excited about this collaboration with Full Court Peace and to bring this to the board. I've seen, I've heard about and seen some of their great work over at Cross School in Curiel and Barnum. Excited about this basketball, the possibility of this basketball court for two kind of key reasons. One is just the overall fitness aspect. As we know, before the pandemic, kids are more sedentary than ever before. We want to get them moving, but now the pandemic has them, in their house for most of the day. And so as soon as this ends, we want to be able to get them out and get them moving. And that provides a great opportunity, as well as there's not a court like this in the school zone of Black Rock School. It also provides our PE department with extra opportunities, that they can really use this surface. Right now, it's kind of a vacant lot with some bits of grass, but now they can really build up and have, using that surface, can go from foursquare to running to hopscotch to all kinds of different things. And then, when it rains, it's not a washout anymore. And then kind of the third aspect that I'm excited about is the kind of bringing our students closer together. Excuse me. Black Rock School is extremely diverse ethnically and racially. And if you walk through the halls, you'll see, students of all different races and ethnicities getting along. But what you'll also see, though, is, to some degree, and maybe it's a microcosm of America, when that school bell rings, everybody goes their different ways. And we see it a lot. And the idea is that, both during school and, providing some after school time for kids to just play together in a spot that everybody sees as an area that's welcome. And for me personally, I met so many different people playing sports. I think this has a chance to just be a really good addition to the Black Rock School community. Bring our student body closer together and form even deeper bonds than the ones they form while they're, in the traditional school day. So we're super excited that to work with Full Court Peace, and they've really stepped up and raised the money to be able to do this.
Okay. I've looked at the package. There's a lot of information that's been given to us in advance, which is nice. It doesn't always come to us well in advance, so we wind up asking a lot of questions. But has everybody looked at the material that was forwarded to us? Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to add one thing, is that after we've done, worked with Full Court Peace at the other 3 school locations, we've seen a dramatic increase in the usage on those courts. So that it's really getting kids out onto the basketball courts. Even during the warmer weather, during the pandemic, it really drew kids to the courts. Get them involved in doing something productive and not just hanging around, playing video games and whatever else they could get into that may not be productive. So I think this is going to do the same for that community as well.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the aerial shot, this is like almost a garbage piece of land that nobody has ever been able to really find a good use for, because can't build much on it, you can't do much on it, but it's perfect for something like this, and that appeals to me. Who owns that little piece of land?
It's
That's the
BOE
city or
land.
school, or
No, it's a school.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it has
ours.
this long
It is.
history of when they were going to expand the buses and all that, but like it was going to be a turnaround, but then the lady next door, you'll see that little kind of hut there, or like that she wouldn't sell that, so they weren't able to do when they expanded, do what they originally wanted. So we kind of spruced it up over the last couple of years, but it's limited. It's like you said, the lot is limited, so I think this is kind of a perfect thing to put there.
Absolutely, I like it. Does anyone else have anything to ask? Or Mr. Scully, you got your hand up. You're muted. Joe, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Full Court and everybody for investing in our community. It is much appreciated. Students definitely need all the help we could get, especially with building out stuff when we have such a tight budget. So every bit helps. This is the little piece of land right across the street, correct? The little
Yes.
It's like yeah. There's definitely really nothing to do with that day other than that. And this is great. Just a couple of little minor things. In the packet on page 2, it just says there'll be no cost to the city of Bridgeport. I think it would just be better to say Bridgeport Public Schools for the project, since it's going to be a school thing. And as the name, you have no issue whatsoever with it, but we're going to have to do something with the policy and the naming committee on new construction. That's for Mr. Chair. We're going to have to either suspend I forget what you call it. Suspend the policy, the new construction naming policy, and perhaps later on we could also amend that for gifts as such. And
Amend that for what?
we amend it for gifts and bequests, because right now it just states a naming committee will be formed for new construction and such of facilities and parts of facilities. But I see no problem getting that past the board. Just amend.
I don't see an issue with getting a name for that area once it's completed. I mean, regardless of whether it was services were donated, it's a school. It's a part of a school facility.
No doubt. But I'm just saying it doesn't fit in with the parameters of the current policy, which is
You take a look. I don't see that it's too far beyond.
Right. But yeah, it's just the what you call it?
Like we could take a look.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
not a sticking issue. It's just procedural that we would probably have to look at. Thank you. That's all I got.
Benahan, anything?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. First of all, I have to say, City, thank you for everything you do for Black Rock School. We appreciate, everything you do for our children and parents and staff. Thank you for everything. I appreciate that. But I have a general question. All this for our Bridgeport students and, especially for your school, it will be covered from BOE. So everything will be ready that it's going to be using for BOE. We're not going to have no issue with the city, or later they come with some policy, or later they come with something, because we don't want later come with, a little surprise, something like that. So everything's going to be all set. That is going to be for children. So like Mr. John Wonder said, everything's going to be organized the way it is. We're going to follow the policy, the rule, the protocol. I don't want no drama later come to say, oh, BOE is doing this, or you guys never did this, you never made this form, we forgot this. So that's my question for you.
I think he's asking, like, is there any permitting that has to be done for you to be able to do any of this? Any formalities on the city side?
Not that I've been made aware of. I'll double check and triple. I've talked to our city councilor about it. He was in favor of it, but I can double check with him to make sure that he'll go through the steps again. Like I said, I'll follow
Yeah,
up with
I mean,
Scott Burns.
Well, I would assume that whatever
Different than
whatever
what we've
process
done
you
at
went
the other
through.
schools.
with the other schools is what you would do here.
We've done this at 3 schools. It's no different. Just, you know, it's a little awkward based on how the land is not.
No, but it's still our land.
Yeah. So,
But my only thing is there any kind of permitting? Or was there with the other projects, do you know? Mr. Evans?
And
No,
and how much,
there was no permitting, just proof of insurance was the main thing.
Okay.
and how much is gonna be like in the total to do this basketball part? You know, do you have a total, something like that? How much it's gonna be?
Yeah, it should be about 70,000, with the majority of the cost being converting the grass into asphalt. That's the biggest financial expense.
All right. All right, thank you.
You're gonna use asphalt or flexi pave?
No, it'll be the quote I got was for asphalt.
asphalt's the best way to go outside of concrete because some of the other stuff outdoors gets really slippery. We've seen that over at Blackham School with the resurfacing they did. I'm part of the court, and when it gets a little damp, it gets really slippery.
Okay.
No more question, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
No more questions? Okay. All right, then I'll seek a motion to refer this to the full board for their consideration and a recommendation for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kolovic. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, before we go any further, as is typical, has our facilities department looked at it in their currents with all of this and the materials to be used?
Yeah, I spoke to both Alan Wallach and Bob Hammond.
And they're good?
Yes, they're good.
Okay.
I think Steve and Mike, before we get started, I may like to just hook you up. We have a project that was approved over at Cesar Battaglia with the Over Under Initiative and Kyle Martino from USA Soccer. We may be able to incorporate that as a freebie and as part of this project so that it could be used as a soccer, used for soccer as well. The same thing we're doing at Battaglia. So it's kind of a cool project while you're in the midst of doing it rather than cut asphalt later on. Could be something that we can do in the install prior to the asphalt.
So if I could just say one thing, it's funny you bring that up. So I grew up with Kyle, but I grew up in a neighboring town, so I didn't know him that well. But you know, we had mutual friends. But the family that raised the money to name the court that we're talking about after their father, both boys went to high school with Kyle.
Oh,
So
perfect.
we'll start that conversation on the side to get momentum, and then we'll come back to you with a report if that's okay.
That would be great. I think it would be another. I know they were looking to see at some point possibly doing another over under initiative location. This might be just the natural next spot.
So just quickly, I'm also looking at Bryant School, just a heads up. So I'll probably be back in touch with you guys later.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then I just went up and checked it out. And then if I can help at Blackham, do you want me to drive by and see if I can provide any relief to the slipperiness?
Sure, that would be great.
Okay, because what we're doing on this one is we're using tennis court stain, which is a big number, but it prevents that problem. You know, it's like when you play in a tennis court, you stop right away. So that's what we're doing here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very
Sure.
much, Mike.
My pleasure.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. It's going to go to the full board. This will be on the next board meeting agenda on February 8th, so a week from tonight.
Great.
Okay,
All right, great. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you for your time. It's a nice
Thank you.
project.
All right.
Next is a facilities update. Mr. Hammond, is he available or is he playing
No,
himself?
Mr. Hammond, obviously for storm reasons, is out and about. They're trying to coordinate efforts with city folks and the snow removal at some point. So I did speak to him, but I can't tell you that from a facilities reporting, and we have been meeting regularly, myself and Bobby, to try to coordinate our efforts and be a little bit more effective and efficient in dealing with some of the things that have been going on at our school. Most recently today, we finally were able to coordinate the contractor to go up, and parts have been secured, and they were doing the air handler up at Fairchild Wheeler that is taking care of our data storage where the servers are. That's been a very scary thought that if those servers went down when it was hot, and now it's getting extremely cold, but that was resolved today, and I'm sure if the job was not completed today, the train folks will be back out tomorrow to do whatever needs to be done to get that completed. You know, we have 37 buildings. Even some of our newer buildings that we consider newer are getting, you know, some mileage on them. So we've been really trying to make sure that we are more proactive in our approach to dealing with facilities related issues. We had an issue at Reed School regarding some discoloration of water. As you're well aware, that we went to a remote learning for a week in order to make sure that that water was safe for our students and staff. We did do a complete water tank removal and replacement this past weekend. We're also looking to replace all the valves when school gets out in June, so that in the future we can isolate any issues that need to be repaired rather than have to do a main shut off, which then requires a little more time to flush out the system. So just trying to be a little bit more proactive. I think it's just in our benefit if we can do that from a facilities point of view. And we're working closely with Craig Nadrizny and his folks. We were able to get a lot of things done prior to the winter months with tree trimming around certain schools. We took down the major tree over by Halland School that had been a problem for many years, and became extremely dangerous with folks not being able to access the sidewalk any longer and have to walk with their children in the road. That was something that I felt needed to be done immediately, and city folks were extremely helpful in getting that done and paying for that. We did a lot of tree work around some of our other schools, Louis Marin, Columbus School. We did a lot of fence repair over there as well to help keep the field and the playground safe for kids. We were noticing that there was a lot of activity on the weekends, and broken bottles and bear caps and things of that nature that needed to be subsided dramatically. A lot of light fixtures on the outside were repaired over the course of the fall months to illuminate our campuses better in the evening for safety, obviously, concerns. So, you know, Bobby and the crew have been working extremely hard. We've been trying to, like I said, meet on a regular basis to make sure we're more proactive than reactive in the facilities department. I thought that was something that needed to be addressed. You're on mute, Mr. Weldon.
Any questions on anything that's just been reported?
No question from me.
Okay. Bill?
Oh yeah, just one question, more of a curiosity. Since we share the parks and playgrounds with the city, and they get the use, who bears the responsibility of cleaning up after the weekend use? It's us. It's on our budget.
Well, that's been some of the questions that were raised, that, you know, if custodians were out there just doing routine cleanups, but the Parks Department has been collaborating to make sure some of the bigger issues when it comes to cleanliness are being handled. But again, you know, we just have to make sure that our custodial staff is at least doing some walkthroughs and informing Bobby when there's some issues that need to be addressed, because we found in some locations that wasn't the case. And it was either myself or some other folks that were doing drive-throughs and pass-bys that were noticing that, things were piling up and they weren't being reported for them to be addressed. So, like I said to Bobby, I just need him to be a little bit more proactive. The department, just needs to stay on top of things. Working with principals as well to work with their head custodians and walk buildings and not right now, obviously, because of the winter weather, but also to walk campuses when things get better on a weekly basis, just to get an idea of where we're at and maybe before things get to be too costly to repair, that we can get on top of them sooner than later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Benahan, your hand's up.
Yes, sir. I don't have a question, but I remember. Mr. Destani, all the custodians in our school, they have all the equipment, like saw, if they need the machine, everything to clean around the school. I don't want later, one of the custodians say, I don't have no saw, I don't have the machine, this machine is broke up, I don't want later, make some issues. So far, Mr. Hammond told you all Bridgeport School have everything what they need to clean the areas, right?
Well, the custodians have some responsibilities in maintaining the snow removal, but the city has the remainder of the responsibility. So, I spoke to Mr. Hammond earlier today to get an update on when the snow removal this afternoon, this evening, or tomorrow morning would begin. He said that they were going to start really getting parking lots and sidewalks done tomorrow morning. My recommendation was to start as early as possible at sunrise so that they can get as much done prior to the sun going down in the evening. We'll have another check-in tomorrow morning, depending on how the roads are. I will also be out driving around to make sure that we're addressing our campuses so folks can return back on Wednesday in a safe way and we don't have anybody have to slip and fall.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, thank you, Mr. Tony.
Okay. Well, those are the items on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Skolnick. Albert?
Mr. Chair.
Question?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I know I remember that I refer you about the survey and information about Colombo School facility. Remember the last time you talked about that?
Yeah, I forgot to get that on tonight's agenda.
Okay, maybe you can bring it for the whole board?
Yeah, at some point it'll go to the full board. It's the board created the committee and, they're handling it at their level, so.
All right.
Okay.
We bring it to the whole board. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so are you going to second the motion to adjourn?
Yeah, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have a governance committee meeting at 6:30. I don't know if I'm going to see you guys there. If not, have a good night. If not, see you then.
Yes.
Good night. God bless you all.
Okay.